Here is a 30-minute yoga sequence designed to prepare and support an individual within water sports. This sequence brings stability to the hips and pelvis whilst releasing and strengthening the lower back, providing postures to offer core strength and relieve tension in the chest and upper back, all the while strengthening and opening the shoulder girdle throughout. Yoga for water sports assists in maintaining focus, concentration, and mental clarity using breathing techniques towards improving your chosen sport off the mat. Begin in kneeling at the back of your mat and take some deep mindful breaths through the nostrils, inhaling and exhaling of equal length as you allow yourself time to prepare for your practice. Relax the shoulders away from the ears and sit tall on the heels, pressing the tops of the feet into the mat. Coming into Child's Pose, reach the fingertips forward towards the front of the mat and allow the spine to lengthen. Create space with each breath, and as you inhale, reach the fingers away in front of you, and as you exhale, let the sit bones and buttocks relax back towards the heels and relax in the head and neck. Opening the knees a little wider to the outer edges of the mat, reach the fingertips forward with an active child's pose here, pressing the chest through to the mat between the thighs and the knees as you exhale deeply. Inhale, feel the length creating through the spine, and bring focus to the third eye, the Ajna chakra, the area between the eyebrows. Inhale as you raise up into a tabletop position, doubling up the mat underneath for extra cushion if you need to, coming into some cat and cow. So inhale to look forward, exhale tucking the tailbone towards the navel into your cat. Inhale, open through the chest, and exhale here, using the whole of the spine to curl into your cat. Pressing the mat away from you with the palms, spreading the fingertips as wide as you can. The wrists are underneath the shoulders and the knees are underneath the hips. Coming into some core work now with the left arm coming forward, right leg going back. Reach away with the fingertips and reach away with the toes. Lengthen through the leg and the arm simultaneously as you square off the hips, drawing the belly in towards the spine to protect the lower back. Reach away with the crown of the head. On the last one, just extending just a little bit further on that opening. Coming to the left side, right arm forward, left leg back. Exhale as you come in, inhale as you reach out. So noticing how it feels on left to right sides. Maybe you find one side a little bit more challenging than the other, but always using that core strength. And returning back into tabletop. We'll bring the fingers forward to the front of the mat, coming into heart pose, Anahata. A beautiful way to open the chest and shoulders here. And the knees are underneath the hips, pressing the chest towards the mat. Deep breaths as you open your posterior chain, your back body. Also opening the front body. Inhale as you come up to tabletop. And prepare to come to a bent-legged downward dog. So exhale as you draw the chest in towards the thighs, and inhale to lengthen through the spine and just look forward. Ground through the palms here and walk out the ankles and the knees. And when you're ready to come into your downward dog, exhale as you reach the heels towards the back of the mat, keeping the feet hip-width apart and the heels slightly turned out. A few deep, restful breaths here, inhaling and exhaling of equal length, and just bending the knees, walking the feet towards the hands at the front of the mat, and allowing the body to fall over the legs, using gravity to help you here as you take hold of the elbows and sway from side to side just to release any tension into the lower back and the hips. Bend the knees a little deeper, roll up through the spine to standing, And starting to roll the shoulders back a few times, just noticing how they feel. Inhale as you bring them up towards the ears, exhale as you take them down. And just circling the shoulders the opposite way, so bringing the shoulder girdle forward. So inhale as you draw the shoulders up towards the ears, and notice how this feels for you. It may feel a little unusual. So just grounding through the soles of the feet as we raise the arms up towards the sky on the inhale and circle back. So pressing the palms out towards the side, nice big circles, maybe taking some bends into the knees just to release into the ankles and the knees here. And taking those circles the opposite way and drawing the hands back behind you as you inhale. Exhale to drop and release, maybe taking a bend into the knees, a soft bend into the knees here again, just warming up the ankles here. Bringing the arms down into a cactus pose. So the elbows are at shoulder height, palms facing forward. Draw the shoulder blades down the back as you pull the elbows down. You can always come into a wide-legged squat here if you wish to, or stay in parallel. So knees over those middle toes, straight spine, drawing the belly in towards the lower back. Pull the elbows down towards the lower rib cage as you exhale, and inhale, push up towards the sky. So you're really drawing down the shoulders. And then coming to stand at the front of the mat again and swaying the arms from side to side, just brushing either side of the hips, just having some circular twists here, and maybe lifting the heel as you work around from either side if this eases a little bit of tension into the spine. Raise the arms up as you inhale. Push the pelvis forward, lift out of the lower back, open through the upper back. Exhale, forward fold all the way down to a forward bend, lifting the sacrum when you get there. Bending the knees. Step back with the right leg and the left leg into a high plank. Wrists are underneath the shoulders. Lower the knees down to the mat as you exhale, down to the mat, chin, chest. Inhale, draw the elbows in towards the rib cage, come into a cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift the sacrum back behind you into a downward dog. Step forward with the right leg and coming into a warrior two position, Virabhadrasana 2. So bending into the front knee, knee is over the ankle, knee is pointing over the middle toes. Externally rotate the back hip and center up as we inhale, facing the chest and the hips away from you. Inhale and exhale to bend into that front knee. One more here. Inhale and exhale. Straightening that front leg, coming into a triangle pose, a trikonasana. So lots of stability here required in the lower legs. So both legs are straight with a softness into the knees. And rotating that back hip around, shoulders are stacked. Bend back through that warrior and place the palms down by the mat. Come into a twisted lunge here towards the knee, raising that top right arm, reaching the fingertips away, grounding through the left palm, open through the chest and the shoulder here. Starting to bring that left leg in a little closer to the right so you can allow both feet to feel grounded underneath you, and just coming into a forward-facing triangle here for a second before coming into a revolved triangle by lifting that right arm up towards the sky, squaring off the hips, keep drawing that left hip towards the front and drawing the right hip back behind you. Stepping back to the back of the mat, coming into that high plank as you lower the knees. Exhale, chin, chest to the mat. Inhale, cobra, and exhale back into downward dog. Stepping forward with the left leg, coming into the left side for Warrior Two, Virabhadrasana. Exhale as you bend into that front knee. And just noticing the differences from left to right here. Straightening that front leg as you draw the hands together, centering off on the inhale. Exhale, bend into that front knee. Inhale, come up into the center. Exhale, bend. One more here. Inhale and exhale. Straightening that front leg, coming into a Trikonasana. Reach away with the fingertips. Create space between the rib cage and the thigh. Lift that rib cage away from the body as you reach the underneath hand down towards the mat and the upper hand up towards the sky. Bending into that front knee, come back through that warrior and come and frame the front foot at the front of the mat as you come into that twisted lunge towards that left knee. Opening the top left arm, stacking the shoulders one on top of each other, opening into the chest and the armpit and leveling off the hips, keeping the spine long. Coming back into center and drawing that right foot in a little closer towards the left, coming into that forward-facing triangle before coming into a revolved triangle by lifting the left arm up towards the sky. Again, keeping long through the spine, stacking into the shoulders, squaring off those hips and drawing that right hip towards the front, left hip towards the back. Step back to the back of the mat into that high plank as you lower the knees. Exhale, chest, chin to the mat. Inhale, Bhujangasana, Cobra, draw the shoulders down, ground through the hips. Exhale, back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Inhale, come forward over the wrists into plank. Stay strong. Exhale, your choice, Chaturanga, lower. Shoulders are no lower than the elbows here. And inhale into that up dog, sinking the hips down to the mat. Exhale, back into your downward dog. Couple more here. Stay strong through the core. Stay strong in the spine. Exhale, lower, down to the mat. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Rolling onto the tips of the toes. Going back into that downward dog. And one more here. Coming forward into that high plank. Wrists are underneath the shoulders. Exhale, Chaturanga. And inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward dog. Exhale, come back into your downward dog. Inhale, come into plank. And we're going to come into a side plank here, Vasisthasana. So taking your choice, the front foot, the right foot can be in front of the left for additional balance, or you can always move those feet on top of one of each other, trying to pull that hip away from the mat, lifting up in the side body. Switching straight over to the other side, coming back through that middle plank and stabilize here, engage the core, find that focus, looking up at the hand or forward, coming back through the plank, exhale, lower down to the mat, inhale into that cobra, draw the shoulders down, ground through the hips, exhale, back into downward dog. Coming forward over the wrists into that plank position, lower as you chaturanga all the way down to the mat to come to our prone postures for our back extension work. And just bring the big toes to touch, heels out to the side, and just sway into the hips and the pelvis here to release any tension into the lower back. Release the feet just a little bit wider, maybe hip width apart, and just placing the hands to the outer edges of the shoulder to raise up slowly into a wide-armed cobra here. Go easy as you ground through the hips, draw the shoulders away from the ears. I'm going to take 3 lifts very slowly here as you inhale to come up, exhale to go down. And lowering all the way down to the mat and releasing the hands a little wider to the front and coming into a seal pose. So bringing the fingertips at the front of the mat and taking your option here as to how close those fingers come towards the body into the lower back. So maybe pressing the palms down into the mat if it's comfortable for the wrists. Knees are pointing up towards the sky, hips are grounded, and draw in the belly towards the lower back. Lower all the way down to the mat, and again, release into the pelvis and the hips. Coming into our Locust Pose, our Shavasana, bringing the hands underneath the body, palms facing down, little fingers touch, pressing into the mat and resting the chin on the front of the mat as you lift the legs. So engaging the core here and using the strength of the lower legs to raise them up. Maybe only a few inches here. Go easy into the lower back and very slowly exhale as you lower, removing the hands away from underneath the body and swaying into the hips again once more here to release any tension. Lifting the right leg and the left leg up, bringing the heels in towards the buttocks, nice quad stretch just for a second here, lengthening through the hip flexors, drawing the thighs down towards the mat, and coming into our bow pose, Asana, as you push the feet into the hands, hands into the feet, maybe the knees come off the mat, open through the chest, draw the shoulders down, and exhale, lower down to the mat, and sway out the lower back here once again. Placing the hands underneath the shoulders, pressing back through tabletop as you exhale, back into child's pose. Very nice, relaxed child's pose here, not too much length into the spine, just to allow the spine to relax, bringing the head down to the backs of the hands. And inhale as you come up into kneeling, bringing the hands to the thighs, taking a few deep breaths here as you center and focus towards your postures. Coming into tabletop, tucking the toes and bringing that right knee to the right wrist, coming into a pigeon posture, Kapotasana. So lengthening that left leg back behind you in line with the left hip and squaring off the hips down towards the mat. So drawing that left hip flexor down towards that right heel. And as you work simultaneously with the right buttock, releasing as you exhale into the glutes and the piriformis here. Relax into the spine, relax the head down towards the hands. Bringing the hands back up towards the knee, tucking the toe, preparing to send that leg back into a three-legged dog. And as you exhale, back into a downward dog. Bring the left knee to the left wrist. Again, centering yourself, preparing for that pigeon on the left side and looking back behind you to see if the right leg is in line with the hip. So drawing that right hip flexor down towards that left heel and drawing that left buttock and glute down towards the mat. With each breath here, maybe this posture becomes a little bit easier for you within the glutes and the piriformis. Walking the hands back towards the body, tucking that back right toe, lifting that left leg, pushing back as you inhale into a three-legged dog, and as you exhale, centering yourself back into a downward dog. Coming into a dolphin pose, bringing the hands in front of you, so the elbows are underneath the shoulders, and just tiptoe the feet in towards the body for a couple of breaths, and exhale, come back into a child's pose just to rest out the shoulders and the spine here. Sweep the hands back behind you if you wish to interlace the thumbs onto the heels to allow some pressure off of the shoulders. Rolling back up to kneeling. Taking a few deep breaths. Again, nice samavriti, equal breaths, inhaling and exhaling through the nostrils. And then coming to our seated postures. Coming into Navasana, boat pose. A great core exercise here. Trying to really straighten through the spine. So draw the belly in towards the lower back. Straighten through the back. Draw the shoulders away from the ears and lift the legs up to wherever's comfortable. Those legs can always be bent at the knee. Nice deep breaths into that Navasana. And just curl over the knees, allowing the body to be relaxed here and just releasing into the spine. Preparing to come to our next seated posture, which is Gomukhasana, cow face pose. Wonderful for releasing any tension into the hips, but also to allow a release into the shoulders. So drawing the right knee over and across the left, and the left heel can be underneath the buttock, or you can allow both buttocks to rest down onto the mat, bringing the left arm, the opposite arm on top, and the right arm underneath. Maybe the fingers touch behind the back here. You can also use a strap, or you can also sit in an easy posture or cross-legged if the legs are a bit uncomfortable for you. Spinning all the way around to the opposite side. And just readjusting yourself to find a most comfortable seated posture before coming to the right side. So the left leg is on the top, right leg underneath. Release into the hips here and release into the shoulders. Draw the shoulders down and open through that top right elbow. Draw that elbow back behind you. And very slowly releasing the hands and just releasing the legs out in front of you to just give yourself a nice tricep, bicep and shoulder stretch as you bring the left arm forward across the body and then following with the right arm across the body, drawing that hand in closer towards the chest. Sitting tall through the spine, grounding through the sit bones, and just coming up to the front of the mat just a little bit as you slowly roll down to the mat, using every vertebrae, using the core, continuing to breathe. So the lower back comes down, the middle back comes down, the upper back and the shoulders. Last thing to come down is the back of the head, and just drawing the knees in towards the chest and bringing the chin in towards the chest, rolling out the lower back, giving yourself a little massage here underneath you. And releasing from your Upanasana and preparing to come into bridge pose, Setubandha Sarvangasana, placing soles of the feet underneath the knees. Very slowly roll through the spine, lifting the hips up towards the sky, rolling onto the backs of the shoulders, drawing the chin in towards the chest. Soften into the lower ribs as you draw the belly down in towards the lower back. And maybe the hands come underneath the body, interlacing the fingers here for additional lift. Take nice deep breaths here. Feel that release into the shoulders, pressing up with the hips. And release the hands and very slowly roll down again through the whole of the spine, using every vertebrae as you bring the pelvis back down to the mat. And lifting the legs, lifting the arms, coming into our dead bug pose. So the hands are above the shoulders, ankles are above the hips, and take a few deep breaths here. Coming up into a Sarvangasana, a shoulder stand. So your option here, you can either stay in the dead bug or you can take the shoulder stand here with the hands underneath the lower back, pressing to support into the sacrum. Lift the toes, so the toes are ideally over the hips. Draw that chin in towards the chest so you can keep that elongation and alignment through the spine. And lowering the toes back behind you into Halasana or plow. Keeping the spine nice and straight. Again, keeping that chin tucked in towards the chest. And releasing the hands down to the mat and interlacing the fingers if that feels comfortable, or you can still keep the hands underneath the spine. From here, trying to keep the legs where they are, as close to the face and to the body as possible as you roll down through the spine. And as soon as the whole of the back body and the pelvis come down onto the mat, tuck the chin in towards the chest as you lower the legs down to the mat. Great core work here. Focus and balance and breathing. Relax in Shavasana just for a couple of breaths. And coming into our fish pose, Matsi Asana. So the hands come underneath the body, palms face down, thumbs touch underneath you. And imagine you're just lying back on the beach. And the head can fall backwards if it's comfortable for the neck and the throat, or you can look forward along the body. Allow the release to come into the chest and the heart space here. And if you wish to take an additional modification here, you can lift the legs away from the mat. Breathe here and using the core strength to stabilize into the lower back. And very slowly coming out of the posture as you went in, releasing the head and neck back to the mat, releasing the hands from underneath the body, taking a few breaths just in Shavasana here. To center and realign the spine. Drawing the knees in towards the chest, rolling out the lower back, drawing the head up towards the knees, curling into a very tight ball, again lengthening the neck back behind you, and drawing the right leg in towards you for a reclined twist. So taking that right leg across the body, opening up through the chest towards the sky, drawing that right shoulder down towards the mat, and drawing that right knee down towards the mat. You can always look towards the hand, or you can look up towards the sky, drawing both knees in and preparing for the left side. As you draw that left knee in towards the chest, take hold with the right arm, take that left leg over the body and reach that left arm out along the mat at shoulder height. Again, drawing that left shoulder down towards the mat, maybe looking at the hands, but opening across the chest into a wonderful twist in the torso and the spine as you release any tension into those glutes and that outer thigh and IT band. Coming back into center as you inhale, and as you exhale, draw those knees back in towards the chest, rolling out the spine here, giving yourself a little massage, lengthening the legs along the mat, taking the arms out to the side, palms face up, draw the chin in towards the chest. Make tiny adjustments here for yourself before coming into a final relaxation in Shavasana. So lifting the hands off of the mat, spreading the shoulders underneath you, and allowing the ankles and the toes to fall out naturally from the legs and the hips. So just taking a few nice deep breaths here to relax the body, relax the mind into your final relaxation after your practice. Letting all thoughts drift away of past and future, and always coming into that present moment. How the body feels, how the mind feels and is thinking. And if the mind does start to wander, just always connecting back to your pranayama, your breathing technique. So drawing in nice deep inhales and exhales to relax the body further here. Taking your time to bring some movement back into the body, drawing the knees in towards the chest, and just rolling out the lower back here. And taking some slow roll ups to a half boat and balance up on the sit bones. Back to a half plow, roll onto the shoulders. Back into a half boat, using that core, using that breath. And just come up into a comfortable seated posture to close our practice. And taking a few deep breaths here. Thank you for joining us. Namaste.